It's so sad. It's so, and I'm sure unnecessary.
Right.
Depending on why it happened, it's one of those things where you're going, things that make you go,
Yes,
there's something not
exactly.
right here.
Welcome to Texas Tough Chicks. If you're here for your first time, welcome. If you're coming back for your poison, we're so glad you're here. And we're going to talk a little bit about the border. We're going to talk a little bit about what's going on in Texas with the fires. That kind of hit home with me because
Hmm.
our place is up in the panhandle there, and we were blessed, but we do have people in our town, that many people in our town that lost their entire homes, like literally their properties, their houses, their animals and everything. And so yeah, it's just
Sad.
really disturbing because these wildfires, if you haven't been paying attention to them, they kind of started up like all of the sudden on one
Hmm.
day, all of a sudden
Yeah.
spontaneously four fires,
Fires.
major fires started.
About
And
50 miles apart, isn't that
right
what we
about
heard?
50 within 50 miles of each other, but they're far enough apart that no sparks were traveling from one place to the
No,
other.
no.
And it just spontaneous. No, we had no lightning, we had no forecast of any kind of weather event. We had wind and we have dryness, which we always have dryness. That's the whole thing
Right.
about the panhandle. It's dry all the time,
The time,
24/7.
all the time.
Always,
Yep.
always dry. Not like the southern part of Texas.
Mm-mm.
And we had above average temperature. They keep saying much more than average. It's not.
It's not.
We
It's
go, we
not.
fluctuate between the 60s and sometimes we'll bump into the 70s, this time of year because it's kind
Mm-hmm.
of on the edge of spring. And so it's
Right.
not unusual for us to get in the 70s. I mean,
Mm-mm.
it's unusual, but it's not like unheard of. So
Well,
it's
plus
not like,
it wasn't like the heat of summer where
right.
everything is
We get
fried.
it. We could
We're
get over
still,
100 up there.
yeah,
And
we're still in winter essentially. So
right,
yeah, it's not
right.
that hot.
Right. And so we're out of
Yeah.
town because my husband's working for my family in Phoenix, and we're getting all these messages the night before anything happens over there. We're getting red flag warnings, which I a lot of times I'll get like condition warning about conditions
Yeah.
are conducive to,
High
potential fire.
winds.
That means
Well,
that there's
yeah,
a
yeah.
thunderstorm coming through, right?
Right.
And then and I always get the tornado warnings also.
Sure.
And so I'm like, what's this red flag warning, red flag warning? This is the night before. I don't have nothing. I no idea what's going on. I mean, there was nothing going on. Let's just say that
Hmm.
there was nothing going
Yeah.
on. So why am I getting red flag warnings? Okay, so the conditions are ripe for fire. Okay, if that is the case, then our conditions every single day,
Every of the year.
365 days a year, I mean days in the year, we
Right.
must be ready
Right.
for
For
fire to
fire.
happen,
Right.
right?
Right.
I mean, it's ridiculous. And so then, because we have friends and we don't have family in the town that we're in, but we have family close by. My cousin's like, hey, do you want me to go up and check your place? It's like they're, and I'm like, what? So I get on, the news and everything, and I get on our weather and check the local weather and everything. And, all these fires just fired up. Like all of a sudden, the people that I was texting in our town, they're like, pray for us,
Oh
it's
wow.
bad. They keep saying like the wind and the dryness caused the fire. And even though they don't say cause, because they say they don't know what caused it, right? But they're kind of indicating that it's like this climate change thing. No, there's
No.
nothing different
No.
than what we
No.
usually have there.
No.
And then on top of it, I'm sorry, wind doesn't start fires. If wind started fires, then we'd see survival people showing us how to start a fire with wind. It
Wind.
doesn't
Right.
start a
Right.
fire. Wind does not start a fire. Never has, never will.
Nope. You have to have an igniter
You
of
have to
some
have an
sort.
igniter. And how does this happen so close together, but yet so far apart, spontaneously at the same time? I'm sorry. There is something going on. It is just,
Right.
I don't know what's going on. We have tons of cattle up there. We've got tons of oil and
Mm-hmm.
refineries
Mm-hmm. We
right
got a
there.
nuclear facility.
Yep, nuclear facility right outside of Amarillo. And so what is going on? Is this, what is going on? I'm not trying to start a conspiracy theory, but
Well, there's just too
you
many
gotta
unanswered
think. You
questions.
can't just, even my own
It's
family's
not.
going, well, it's windy up there. I'm like, when has
No,
wind
it
ever
does.
started a fire? When has wind ever started a fire?
It's windy where I live all the time too.
Right. So
No,
yeah.
it makes no sense. There's no logic to that, and they still haven't said what's. I mean, I'm reading the newspaper today, and they said this is probably going to be the largest fire in
Yeah.
history in the state of Texas, in this Texas history.
800,000 plus acres. The
Yeah, and the fun
largest burn so far is 900,000 plus.
and the video of all the dead cattle and
Oh
stuff is
my
just
gosh.
breaks your heart. I mean,
Horrible. Knew that
something
the wind
not
was coming because we get we get forecasts of
all the
wind up
time.
there. That's part of our for weather forecast up there is like what's the wind going to be like
Well,
and
here's one. Think about this though. Do you remember the Maui fires?
oh right.
Do you remember that there was this massive windy conditions, whatever, something was happening there that they were predicting. Maybe that's what happened
Yeah,
here
and can
too.
I point out, I knew right away. I looked at my husband, I said, that's a native town.
Mhm.
That's a town full of native.
Oh, Lahaina's, a
And
huge history there, huge
yep,
history of
yep.
Native
And so it's
culture.
expendable, right? They can,
Hmm, hmm.
something can happen there. And you know what? The Panhandle, not full of Native Americans, but definitely full of uh lower income
Yeah.
people. And I think it's just an expendable area. It's like, well, if
Hmm,
we want to get rid of some of the oil, we want to get rid of some of the cattle, we
hmm.
could do that. There's not a lot of people who can come after us and, um, make a lot of fuss about it, And I mean, I'm not saying our government did it, but I'm telling you, there's
Somebody did.
something happened.
That has to be
Something
man-made.
happened.
It has to
Or-
be man-made. I don't
Right,
care how you say it. There's somebody, some human being started those fires, all four of them in different
right,
places, because it's not spontaneous combustion. It doesn't
right.
happen.
No, it doesn't.
Right. And the wind just made it easier to spread faster too.
Right, exactly. And I mean, people are having a hard time getting out of the way, but this is what I love about Texans. That's what I love about Texans. You see any of them on the news, they're just like, yeah, 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 I'm sad, but we're all here.
Yep,
We're
yep,
gonna just
yep.
rebuild.
Hmm.
They're not crying. They're
Oh
not
no.
begging the government to come give them something. They're just
No.
like, yep, well, that's a bummer. I've been here for 50 years.
That one
They're like,
woman in the paper, they interviewed a woman in the paper, and I think she was something. She said she goes, yeah, she stood there and videotaped her house burning
oh
down.
my God.
Bless her heart. I couldn't have done that. But anyway,
That's
she
tough.
goes,
That's
she
tough.
said, at least I've got my memories. She goes, and you can't take away my
Right.
memories. And I went, well, that's
Right. So resilient. So
yeah,
resilient. And so, like we always say, you're just not intimidated by anything. So they're not
yeah.
even intimidated by this fire.
Mm-mm,
People never like, tornadoes come through.
mm-mm.
There's been fires up there before. I think it was in the early 2000s. And people, it's not like people jump ship and abandon. They're just like, okay, well,
No,
that's just part
no,
of living here with the rattlesnakes and the scorpions.
right, right. Just
So tough. So tough. I mean, it's like,
yeah,
I just think if anyone ever tries to take over America, they're gonna have a hard time with Texas
they
because
are.
Texas are just leather tough. They're just
Well,
tough.
our motto, come and take it. It's
Yeah,
like,
right. I'm just glad there's
mm,
something to head back to, and
oh yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
just keeping in
Yeah,
touch with my people up there. But yeah.
it's rough. Hopefully they'll get it contained soon. I haven't heard anything about containment yet, so I
Yeah.
don't. It's
No, I think they're having a hard time. But and
just
when they say something like, it
weather,
hasn't happened for 30 years. Okay, well, it happened 30 years ago then.
right?
You know what I mean? So that's a
Yeah,
bad point to me. If he's like, it hasn't happened here for 30, 50 years. Well, 50 years ago it happened. So it means
or
it's
some.
happened before, right?
Are you get the one that says, never in my lifetime. Well, how old are you?
Yeah, right.
35.
Yeah, you're 25 years
Okay,
old.
well, why
Who
don't you
cares?
talk to your great grandma? It
Right.
happened to him six
Exactly.
times, so
Exactly.
whatever.
And then of course we didn't have a way to measure weather and all that stuff anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. So
Yes.
we have something else big going on in Texas is that the president and the former president are
Yeah.
here today. They're on the border, but it's a tale of two borders because
Yes.
first of all, Joe Biden wasn't even talking about coming to the border until he found out that Trump was going to be here today. And then all of a sudden his agenda
Right.
changed and he's going to be here.
Right.
Now, the difference is Biden is going to Brownsville. Two things about Brownsville is the razor wire. That's just massive down there. It's probably the most shielded part of the entire Texas border is around
Right.
Brownsville. There's also this thing called the river right there.
Right.
And the width of the river makes it really hard for people, unless they've got a boat or something. It's not like parts of the other part of the border where you can just walk off. You know, you can walk across the river. It's dry half the time. So,
And let's just say something about that razor wire.
right,
That is Governor Abbott
right,
making
right.
sure that's secure. And how much you
Yeah.
want to bet our president right now is going to take this, he's going to claim that as his own
Oh, sure he
idea.
is. Sure he is.
Yeah.
But I think what he's going to do is go down there and talk about, look around. There's no problem at the border.
Right.
Look how secure.
Right.
Well, but where is Trump going? Trump is
Right.
going to Eagle Pass, where there's still problems. It is the hot spot on the Texas border.
Right.
This is just like the last time anybody came to the border that was in the government. They went to El Paso, and El Paso was way far away from where all the problems were at that time.
Right.
Plus, they
Right.
cleaned El Paso up.
I think
It's
that
just
was
like,
Kamala.
yeah, it was. It was when
Mhm.
Kamala came, you know, and she didn't go to the border. She went
Right.
to a border town that got all spiffed up because it's run by
Right.
the Democrats, just like when Xi Jinping went to San Francisco and
Right.
that all got cleaned up and looked perfect. Well, then you're not coming to the border. So I call BS on both of them. You know, most Americans, the biggest issue is our open border
Yes.
and the treason that is being done to this country by this administration.
And the danger it puts us in as citizens, because not just like maybe you know, someone like the gentleman from Venezuela will talk about the incident with the
Oh, yeah.
jogger, but like, you know, not just that, but we already know that the Chinese are coming across. They don't
Mhm,
have
mhm.
good intentions for us. And then also the Arab countries that are not our friends, you know,
Right.
they're sending
Iran. Yeah.
potential terrorists across our border. You
Right.
know, that's our safety. That's our
Right.
safety at risk. And speaking of illegals, we have this
Yes.
incident with the jogger, the nursing
Georgia.
Oh, so disgusting.
And
So
the backstory I heard was that this Venezuelan had gone to New York, had I think it had some kind of assault on a child or whatever. He'd been arrested. Of course, you know, it's a revolving door in New York. So he was released. He went to Georgia where his illegal brother was, and then he murdered this woman.
and he had
Brutally
an
murdered
illegal
this
green
woman.
card, okay? He had a false document. So if he had a previous charge, they knew that.
Yeah.
He should have been sent back immediately. There, this poor student, he crushed her skull. You know,
Yeah.
that's intentional. That's not an accident.
That's brutal.
That's
That is
brutal.
brutal. That's
And
brutal.
the stupid news media, what they're putting out is how to stay safe while you're jogging.
You're
Well,
jogging.
no, how about we just secure our border? How
Right.
about that?
Right.
Yeah, we should, our girls should be safe when they're jogging. Yeah, they
Right.
should
Right.
be. But
And
we
don't
shouldn't be
release.
adding to their danger,
Mm-mm.
you know, by
No.
allowing, you know, potential criminals and terrorists into our country.
Right.
We've
Right.
got to secure up that border. We're
Yep. Yep.
heading towards it. And we need to start being like those people in Texas that are, you know, facing that wildfire. Well, we've got a wildfire facing us right now. It's coming our
We
way,
do.
and we need to
We
get
do.
tough, and we need to fight it off. And I don't mean by violence. I mean we need to get tough, and we need to vote in the right people. Do your homework.
Well,
You
and we just out here all need to unify. I mean,
Mhm.
whatever way we can. And when they come at
Yes.
us and say, "Hey, we're taking your guns," we just tell them, "No,
No,
you're
you're
not.
not. You're
You're
not.
not."
Got to
You
do
do?
something. You know, you and I are just trying to help people feel like they're not alone. That's just
Right.
basically
Right.
what we're doing. It's a
And hope
therapy for you and I because we do this all. We talk politics whenever
all the
we talk.
time. Right. Right. Right.
So we're just kind of adding everyone into the conversation so they don't feel like they're out there alone, you know?
Well, and hopefully there's something that, oh, hey, I didn't know that, and I'm going to research that. And you know, the tough chicks mentioned it. I'm going to go research that and find
Right.
out the backstory. It's
Exactly.
like, yeah,
I'm just gonna say we're glad everyone came by to join us for this, and we hope y'all get Texas tough. And
yes,
we just pray for our country,
Right.
Get educated, look things up, like Viv said, look things up, for yourself.
Yep.
Educate yourself. Don't listen to the media.
No.
And we'll see you back here next time.
Take care.
You just gave someone an idea,
Yep. Oh, well. Well, then cut that one out.
I will, because you know what? You need to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. So don't.
Yeah, I'll cut that one out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, exactly.
Thumbs up.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Just try it. Just try it.
So